Okay, hello and welcome to another episode of News from the Gelding. So, I know last week I said I'd have a drawing to show you now, but guess what? I haven't finished it. Unfortunately, this new job is taking slightly more of a toll on me than I thought it was going to, both in terms of the amount of time I've got available to me and the effect it's having on my bad knee. It's yeah, it seems it's getting worse, I think. Although it's slightly better today, so I'm a little bit hopeful that it's going to improve. So I haven't got the drawing to show you, so I thought what I'll do is something a little bit different today, and I'll get my special headgear, this thing with the camera on. You can watch me do a drawing. So I thought I might do a little sketch, first sketch of a creature that exists in my first book. It's a little bird that has a transparent body, so you can see all its insides. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I'm going to print off some reference material in a minute to help me draw it, and you can just watch me do it, and I'll talk as I'm doing it. I've done a bit of test material with the drawing that I'm going to show you. I'm not sure if it's going to make a very good time-lapse film because my head's all over the place. But I'm going to do it anyway, and I'll hopefully show you that next week. The only other bit of news is about half an hour ago, someone tried to buy one of my paintings, so I was quite excited until I realised they wanted it for £20 with free postage. And seeing as the painting took between 4 and 5 hours to make, and I made the frame for it and everything, I'd probably get around £2, £3 an hour for having done that. So I respectfully declined that offer. A brief moment of elation followed by crushing despair. No, not quite that bad, but you get the idea. Okay, so if you fancy watching me do a bit of drawing and prattling on as I'm doing it, stay tuned and I'll be with you in a moment. Okay, and so we begin. Since I said hello to you, I realized I had to eat, obviously, before going to work. So I've just had a bowl of noodles. Right, okay, so I've just printed these out, just very basic. One showing the internal anatomy of a bird. I don't know which one. I assume they're all fairly similar, but that doesn't matter. I've also got a picture of a blackbird. The birds in my story are quite small, so I imagined it would be of a similar size, and I really like blackbirds because they have a lovely song. Okay, this is going to be very quick because I've only got an hour before I've got to go to work. So let's have a look here. Right. Brilliant. Okay, so let's just begin by drawing the bird itself. Right. Zero planning involved here. I'm just winging it. Right. This is an old chopping board. Right, I've got a H pencil here. Let's have a cup of tea quick. Oh, crikey. Let's just check it's recording. Yes. Yeah, I've got to keep my head about there. Okie dokie. Oh, this is terrible. Sorry, apologies in advance. Right. So, 20 minutes from this point. Let's see how it goes. Right. Let's draw this bird. Right, so this is a very light pencil. I'm just going to get this basic structure in first. There's his lovely little head. I'm not expecting amazing things from this drawing, so neither should you. Right. Don't judge me too harshly. Right, there's its chest. It's quite a plump bird, this one. I thought it would also be quite nice. Can fill in all its organs relatively easily. It's its little back part. Proportions could be out here, but I'm not busting a gut over that. Right, let's get this leg in. The other one's around there. Probably further across, but yeah, the proportion's already a bit out here. Okay, let's get this leg down. Already this is looking a bit weird to me, but persevere. I had a minor incident earlier today on the drive. I was just approaching the school. The kids are all on board. And the way we enter is through a fairly narrow country lane. And so it's a very long lane. And if you meet something coming the other way, one of you's got to reverse. So I made it most of the way up. And then this young lad and his, I don't know who's driving now. It's quite I think it might have been a BMW, but it was a small car. And he just sat there like as if he wasn't going back. So I said, well, I wasn't going to move because it would have been crazy. And mine would have been backing out onto a busy road. So I just stayed there. Didn't like it. Oh no. But he reversed back quite fast. So I could tell he was slightly miffed. And then as I drew alongside him, he was shaking his head as though I'd made a mistake, or whatever. So I should have just let it be there, but I put my window down and asked him what the problem was. And I said, did you really expect me to drive all the way back to that road? And then he fairly meekly replied, well, there's a gate back there. And I said, there's no way I can get this great big thing in that. And he kind of made out that I couldn't drive properly if I couldn't get in that space. Well, try driving a 7-seater with children on board with a mad bastard driving at you. See how you get on. He started swearing, and I said, look, I've got children on board here. Mind your manners. I didn't swear, which is a miracle, because normally I would. But you see, I'm a professional. When it comes to driving, in that capacity, you have to remain calm, and I did. But I mean, what I should have done was just smiled at him and went my way, because that normally infuriates them more than engaging them in conversation. Right. If I'd been driving my own car, it would have probably been a different matter. But it's at the end of the day, it's just driving, isn't it? And some people get a bit het up. Not quite sure what he was in a hurry for. Something quite demanding of his attention. Right. Okay, that's not very good. Anyway, right. So, basic outline of a blackbird. Right now, I realised when I wrote this, you could see all the organs inside the body and all of that. But of course, you would not see the organs necessarily because of all the muscle that's wrapped around them. So I'm gonna next draw in some muscle, and I forgot to print this out, so it's on the computer. You may not be able to see it there. I don't know if you can see it or not. So I'm just going to put some basic muscle in. Yeah, so the way I'm get around this in the story, not that I need to explain it too much, is that the muscle is also transparent. You can always get out of these things. Right, so it's a bit of muscle going in here. I don't know if it looks like muscle, but let's wrap it around there. Okay. No idea how this is going to join up to this bit of thingamajog. Oh dear. Anyway, just a generalized idea of something covering the organs within. So this would be the part you would eat, I imagine, that I'm drawing now, if you were into eating small birds. But as a vegetarian, I certainly wouldn't. But I imagine a blackbird is quite tasty, if but fairly small. Right, okay, that's terrible. Right, okay, let's get these organs in. Right, again, I'm not going to faithfully reproduce this, but okay, so we've got a tube that comes down into the lungs, which are here. So I'm going to make this fairly generalized. It doesn't really matter if it's anatomically correct. That's the liver. Here we have the stomach. So in my story, the stomach, you can actually see what it's eaten, and it's fairly bloated for that, on like berries, whatever. So you would see that. So that's good. Okay, then we've got the intestines. Okay. Not really doing this very well. Right, in our world, I believe the bird's anus is going to be around about here. Don't know if you call it an anus in a bird, but that's where it's going to be. There we go. Right, if you live by the sea or near the coast, you won't be any stranger to birds, seagulls, dropping their deposits from on high. So this gives you an idea of where it's come from, I suppose. Okay, right, there's various other little doodads around here. It's just, I don't know, got an air sac there, doodaloo. Okay, we've got the heart there, and I mentioned the heart as well in the book, and I describe it as beating furiously against its chest. As it turns out, it is fairly near the chest, but it wouldn't have been pressed right up against the chest. Not quite sure what I was thinking there, but when you're writing these things, you don't really have a major idea of anatomy when you're writing these things. It's just you conjure it in your own mind as you're reading, whether it's right or wrong. Okay, what the crop? I imagine that's where all the seeds and whatnot go before they pass down into the digestive juices. Okay, right, so that's more or less those little doodads. Right, okay. If now I just want to put a bit more kind of detail. I'll go use a darker pencil now. Let's go back to the original drawing in that photograph. In that, so in the story as well, the eye is the part that you most notice. There's these black pip eyes, I describe them as. So if we bang that eye in there, fairly clear. Oh, it looks rather sad actually. Oh dear. Right, there's the eye. And I suppose the eye would be attached to the brain and all of that. So where's the brain? Little brain there. Okay. Looks like I don't know what that is. Terrible. Oh dear. Anyway, get the idea. Right, let's get this fleshed out a bit more. Let's got that bit there. Let's get this. This is a little awkward. I tend to move the paper around quite a bit when I'm drawing because of my wrist. If it goes to a certain point, it will start locking. I also described the bird as having a fairly needly kind of beak, so let's elongate that a bit more. And the beak won't be see-through, so let's get a bit of shading in there. Lovely. Okay, so now we're having to imagine really what a transparent bird would look like in terms of its feathering and things like that. So maybe just, I don't know, just some lines with the organs and whatnot within being slightly more prominent. There was a lung somewhere. Oh, that's the lung, yeah. Right, so let's get this. Shaded in there. So yeah, this is bearing in mind just a sketch, so we're not going to, it's not going to be too detailed here. I just want to get the general idea of what it might look like if I were to draw it properly. At the moment it's looking fairly poor. That's an interesting thing in itself when you're drawing. I've often started drawing and I think, my God, what am I doing? This is terrible. But as with so many things in life, if you persevere, often it will turn out all right. Sometimes I've finished a drawing and I was at a certain point ready to, throw it in the bin, but I kept going, and then I thought, crikey, I'm glad I didn't do that, because it actually turned out not too bad. In the case of this one, I don't think that's going to be the issue. It's going to be fairly crap, but let's get the stomach in. So if I was drawing this, properly, I'd have quite a bit of fun getting some three-dimensional stuff going on with these organs. They're nice shapes. I'm having to make do with fairly lazy lines here, but you can see how these features would pop if given enough light and shade. I mean, this is fairly pathetic what I'm doing here. Okay. This crop thing. Obviously you wouldn't see unless the organs themselves are transparent, you wouldn't actually see what's in them. Another thing I didn't really consider at the time. Crikey. Okay. So the faint suggestion of feathers, I suppose. And there's the wing. So the wing feathers going on top of the organs and whatnot. Oh, my wrist feels like it's going to detach. I don't know, suggestion of feathers here. So, and I imagine its legs wouldn't be transparent, so let's get those in dark. hope that this is filming as I'm talking to myself in an empty room. Never a good sign. Claw there. Yeah, so this bird features in the story a couple of times. Once, or maybe 3 times. A couple of times in real life, where he's in the gardens of Galendar, and it comes and perches on his knee. And once in a fairly unpleasant dream or vision, in which the bird perches upon his knee and starts drinking his blood. But anyway, this is kind of what I imagined, I suppose, to a certain extent. I'm not doing it justice, really. I just wanted to see what it looked like. Quite often these ideas are in your head and you don't really know how they're going to turn out. And it's the job of artists to bring these things to life. I suppose I'm able to, because I've done drawing in the past and whatnot, I can occasionally visualize things slightly better, I suppose, but it never turns out the way you actually imagine it in your head. God, my wrist is not good. So despite the fact it's transparent, I imagine there's some weird stuff going on behind here. So let's get this. That's the bird's brain and whatnot. Taking liberties here with what it might look like. But like when you're writing, it doesn't really matter if it's not quite right, because this is, after all, an alien bird from another dimension, or whatever the hell it is, you know. Be quite an interesting creature though, because in effect it's just a bag of organs. And you may not even see that it's a bird until it starts moving around, flapping its transparent wings. How are we doing for time? Not much longer left. Of course, I've also got to edit the thing before I leave, and then what I normally do is get it uploading whilst I'm off working. Stupid old wrist. Right, if anyone watching is a wrist surgeon, I need a new wrist, if that's possible. I can't pay because I haven't got any money, but you can have this bird. How about that? Oh dear. Yeah, the wrist I badly broke once by falling off my bike. I went to the hospital, and the doctor was adamant that I hadn't broken it. It's a long story, but let's put it this way, they were wrong, and I told them at the time they were wrong because I knew what the break. I'd had the same problem before with my other wrist. I had to fight to get an x-ray on the day, and she came back and said, no, it's all fine, go back and rest it. 3 days later, I go back, have another x-ray, and they show me the 2 x-rays. The first one had a great big crack through the bone, and the second one showed the bone having separated due to 2 or 3 days of using it, as she recommended. It now has a bolt through it. Holding, well, I think the bone's grown across it now, so it doesn't need the bolt. But fortunately, I get a lot of pain now. I mean, sometimes I kick myself that I didn't sue them over it. In fact, my GP suggested recently that I really should have, because I just don't like the idea of suing people, even if they have made a glaring mistake like that. They did get the operation to fix the bone together with the bolt fairly quickly. It only took a week or so. So I thought, right, we'll leave it there. You've done your part. You've made good on the mistake. But I didn't realize that years later I would have this pain. Now, it doesn't hurt if I don't use it. But of course, you have to use your wrist occasionally for various things. Okay, that's a fairly bad drawing. I'm sorry. I had it pictured different in my mind, but this is just a starting point. So when you're coming up with ideas for things, if you're into that, you must start somewhere. This for me is the starting point. It's okay, I suppose, but needs various other iterations until it's what I imagined it would look like. But you get the idea, I think. Bloody leg's gone a bit big, isn't it? Okay, so right, that's all I'm doing. I'm sorry. All right, let's get a bit of log in here. Do. Standing on the log. Lovely, lovely, lovely rubbish. Okay. I never sign stuff, but since I'm filming it, yeah, JC, done. Wow. Incredible. It's optic nerve there. Lovely. Okay. You get the general idea. Or do you? Okay. I think I'll leave it there. Or will I? Yes, I will. I better add. What time is it? Crikey, I've got to go soon. Well, I've got half an hour. See, I'd love to shade this nicely for another time. Okay. This bird is called a temporary in my book. Temporary. So I always tit around with things, even though it's not very good. I can't stop playing with it. So the more you work it, the more it will resemble an actual bird, just with curious markings. You can see here, how these very basic lines, they kind of suggest a transparency of sorts. But if you imagine the internal structure was very well defined, and then the rest of it was a mere ghost around it, I think that would actually be quite nice. Oh, cold tea. Right, I'll leave it there. There we are. There's the bird. Okay, I'll shift it over and say goodbye. Okay, hello. Thank you for watching that, if you did. Fairly tedious, I know, but I was scraping the barrel today for some content, but seeing as I'm not getting many views anyway, it doesn't really matter a great deal. Hopefully next week I'll show you the drawing that's going to be for the cover. I'm going to really try to get that finished for you, okay? So until then, I'll say cheerio.